Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're now ready to resume the debate for the District 4 candidates.
Mr. Tony, if successful in your campaign, what one thing would you most like to accomplish, and how do you propose to accomplish it?
Well, the one thing is what we're working on right now, and that's to establish the infrastructure and the growth corridor. And that will create jobs, tax base, take the pressure off the residential tax base. And we're in pursuit of that now, which entails providing the water and wastewater infrastructure to the corridor, and negotiating a possible agreement with Artesian for some of our water and small portions of our wastewater systems. And we're waiting on some decisions that will hopefully go in our favor, and we can pursue that to closure. And then we can concentrate on expanding our wastewater plant at Seneca Point. The Bainbridge Development Corporation and the county are working on getting a wastewater line financed from Port Deposit to Seneca to jumpstart Bainbridge after 10 years of arduous, disappointing lack of production there. And the establishment of that infrastructure in the growth corridor will enable us to use these large 1,000-acre tracts of land for development. And high-end business is what we're looking for, high-end jobs that will produce high yield from the income tax, from the property taxes, and low service demand, so that we can have a sustainable income and a sustainable community as far as our tax base is concerned. We've been doing well with economic development, but we've been behind the 8 ball for years as far as the balance of industrial, commercial, and tax base and versus residential.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts, if successful in your campaign, what one thing would you most like to accomplish, and how do you propose to accomplish it?
Thank you very much. We're in the worst economic cycle in the history of my lifetime. And I know there are some people who remember the Depression, but most of us don't recall the kind of economic environment we're in. What I would do if elected commissioner would be look at the current business structure of the county. We rely on property tax for 61% of our revenue. That's 28% for the piggyback tax or the income tax that people pay. We need to revamp that entire structure. Putting the infrastructure in is only one component of changing the economic viability in Cecil County. With that infrastructure along Route 40 that Mr. Tone talked about, which has to come from the Delaware line to the Susquehanna River, you can then retain and expand existing jobs. You can recruit businesses, you can recruit new businesses, and with that you can create new jobs. If you do that, you can create a larger revenue stream from the piggyback tax or the income tax, which then will reduce the reliance on the property tax. Change that 61% down to 55%, whatever we can strive to do. The next thing is you can create jobs, but if you don't have an educated workforce, you can't fill those jobs. So we need to make sure that in our K-12 education, in our college education, and also in our institutes, technology institutes, that we make sure that our workers are skilled with today's knowledge, today's technology, in order to fill those jobs. So it's just not one thing. It's a plan. The plan has to come from the structure of how we pay our bills to create a new revenue stream so that we can put Cecil County in a much better place in the year 2010 and beyond.
Thank you. Mr. Tone, you now have 1 minute to respond to Mr. Roberts' answer, if you'd like.
Okay, with BRAC coming in, we've got an opportunity to get to spin off businesses that are going to supplement BRAC. However, the time that it takes to get approvals through the different regulatory agencies at the state level is something that the state delegation can really help us with, expediting that process. Committee reviews where MDE and MDP and all the other entities that approve things get in the same room instead of it have to be taken care of by one and sent to the other and then back to the other one, get them all in one room at one time. The delegation can facilitate that and try to fast track some of these things since BRAC's upon us, and hopefully we can secure those businesses into the areas to supplement what we're doing.
Mr. Roberts, you now have 1 minute to respond if you so choose.
Well, as I stated in my answer, it has to be part of an overall strategic plan. And with that, BRAC's here, and we're missing the opportunity to secure those businesses that would help accomplish what I just described in my previous answer. We need a strategic plan on how we're going to recruit and increase our business, industrial tax base, our jobs, so we can balance the reliance on the income tax versus the property tax. Individual property owners are relied on too extensively, and we need to change that balance. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Roberts, again, next question. We're starting with you. Please state your position on raising taxes versus spending cuts and your view on the steady growth of government, including the level in which you believe government should solve societal problems versus promoting and enabling private solutions.
How about repeating that again?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Please state your position on raising taxes versus spending cuts and your view on the steady growth of government, including the level in which you believe government should solve societal problems versus promoting and enabling private solutions.
I don't think it's an issue of raising taxes versus spending cuts. I think if you have a plan, you need to determine what are your needs, where the revenue streams are going to come. We cannot raise taxes. As I said, we have to create more jobs so that we have the revenue in order to take care of the needs the Cecil Countyans expect. They dictate what services we need. It's not the government that dictates service, it's the populace in the county that dictates what kinds of services they want to enjoy the quality of life in Cecil County. And with it, it's not about solving societal problems, it's about meeting the needs of your citizens and them identifying what their priorities are and what their expectations are. I heard Ron say at the beginning that there are two kinds of elected leaders, one who serves and one who dictates. County government must serve the constituents of Cecil County, so we need to communicate, find out what their priorities are, find out how we can creatively fund those priorities so that we are not constantly going back to the taxpayers and asking them to shoulder the burden. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Thome, I'll pose the same question to you and I'll restate it. Please state your position on raising taxes versus spending cuts and your view on the steady growth of government, including the level in which you believe government should solve societal problems versus promoting and enabling of private solutions.
Well, I think that government was set up to provide services. I know that it was set up to do that, and that's what we're all about, serving the constituency, to provide those necessary staples of our community to make it safe. Cornerstone is public safety, education, systems approach to that, public schools, libraries, and colleges, provide an educated workforce, and then the infrastructure to have a sustainable tax base and to provide businesses and jobs so that we can have a tax base that takes that pressure off. We have an opportunity to get some revenue here from the and jobs from the casino established in Cecil County, so we can finesse that revenue into our streams. Years ago when wastewater systems were put in 72, a lot of federal money came through. I think we need to look hard and press our federal officials to help us with those large projects, such as the School of Technology for our additional high school. The high school in Northeast needs to be basically rebuilt, and they're tough nuts to crack. We've got our court system in a real shoe shoebox, people are in closets. Multi-million-dollar renovation additions that are needed there, and we can't do it alone. Among the other things that are being pushed back on us from the state level, we've been cut. The state police at the barracks have been cut. We've had to increase our police patrols. So I think working together with our federal officials and state officials to balance out what we have to do here as far as our revenues and how we're going to get them is going to be the important thing for the future.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts, you now have 1 minute to respond, should you so choose.
Nobody's going to bail us out. There's no federal money. There in trillions of dollars. Again, they're not going to turn it around. There's no federal dollars coming. There's no state dollars coming. I had the privilege of an opportunity to talk with the governor the other day. I said to Governor O'Malley, I said, how's your campaign going? He said, I have no good news to share. Nothing is going well in state government. We're going to have to solve our own problems. We're going to have to identify our own priorities, and we're going to have to create revenue streams that will sustain us. The state's not going to be there to help us. The federal government's not going to be there to help us. There is no money. We're in this for 5 or 6 years, and the sooner we acknowledge that, the better off we'll be in solving our own problems. Thank you.
Mr. Tome, you have 1 minute to respond if you'd like.
I disagree. I think there are some federal resources out there. We've been getting Homeland Security grants on food, public safety, and there are still grant revenues out there projected, and possibilities are there. We just have to look for them. We can look at public-private partnership with philanthropic interest to do some of our things that are out there in Parks and Recs and some of our other social programs that we have out there. Continue to bolster our volunteer fire service in Cecil County to make sure that we don't have to take over any of that other role, any of those other roles that on top of what we do now with the supplement paramedic program and things like that that we can do to encourage volunteerism to take the burden off of having to pay folks to do that. And that's our biggest nut to crack is personnel services and costs.
Thank you. You can keep your microphone. Mr. Tome, the next question will begin with you. Other than increasing property